it up. Hey, raise it up. Why? Raise it up. Raise it up. Why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up. Why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up. Why? Raise it up. North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. West side, raise it up. 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 North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. The west side, raise it up. 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 Raise it up.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey loves, hey loves, hey love. My name is YN Vaughn. I also go by Y, and this is another incredible episode of Raise It Up Y, the podcast. We're coming at you the last Thursday of July 2023 in an episode. This is the Raise It Up Y Love Lounge live recap, no cap. Wendy is here with me. So if you're on this sonic adventure with us as an Audible listener, first of all, we thank you for your non-refundable time and energy being here with us. If you are a love listener on any of the places where podcasts can be consumed audibly, thank you so much for your time. If you are a love onlooker on YouTube, where the show of the podcast is, we thank you for being a part of this journey with us. And you already knew that Wendy was in the building. Holler if you hear her over here looking like a Black Panther.
Hey, how you doing?
You look like you look like a cougar. You look like a panther.
She is so crazy. Y'all remember the last time we were on here? I don't know what
I ain't said
to come out her mouth.
I ain't said nothing yet. No. Raise It Up Y is where OGs kick game to real ones only. This is where we raise self-awareness, vibrations, and the capacity for love, which is just knowledge. We do that using non-corny positivity from the West Coast to the mother effing world. Just like Dr. Dre said, we don't do diet hip hop, and then I said mother effing.
Oh,
I just don't feel like, no. But see, I think a part of being, well, if we explain what non-corny in our vernacular, in love culture vernacular means, non-corny literally means authentic. What we mean is that we don't do corny positivity. We don't demand that people be positive to be down with us.
Right.
We just demand that you own where you are in your current space and point your rocket up towards the direction you're hopefully ready and willing to go.
That's good.
Which should be up.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are feeling down, if you're feeling less than positive, if you're having a not so great day, we hope that this is the time that you meet us, and come into the podcast with us and our energy and everything. Because one of our goals is to meet you where you are in what we call in the therapeutic world a harm reduction philosophy. And then go up from there. What's that sound? She's overheating? Is she mad at me? She's not? As long as she's okay. She's good. Okay. My 2015 computer is saying, bitch, I'm old. But we're using her for reasons that we won't go into. However, ladies and gents, today we are here on this pod to talk about what happened a week ago, which is the live, first time ever Love Lounge, the Raise It Up Y podcast live taping that we called the Love Lounge Live LA Experience. We were, I think we're still going to end up finding the words. My very own sister, I am Wendy with an I, Wendy Vaughn right here, said, for your next episode, we need to do something like, we have to know what you were thinking. So I'm going to come on the episode and basically I'm going to take over. So Wendy is the big sister. She decides whenever she wants to come on the podcast, considering the podcast is taped in the same space we both lay our heads. So she said, I'm bogarting. And I said, peas and more peas. Thank you. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. So we're in our very own kitchen, and there's just a lot of sounds going on. Usually you guys can't hear any of this. I always say in the when I'm listening back to the episodes, I'm like, I should have never made mention of that. You literally can't hear it. But then there's certain things that you can hear. And so if you don't make mention of it, and it's like something with, bah, in the background, and it's like, damn, she's just gonna pod through it, huh? Like, respect, girl. So I never know what y'all can hear, but right now my house is making 16 sounds, and like, fuck it, like, who gives a fuck? Like, we're just gonna keep going. So we've introduced this thing. We're going to do 3 things today, as we do every episode. There's 5 segments of the pod, but every episode we get to 3 segments, and then we get into Hawaiian's words of wisdom before getting to some pay your dues, and then getting on up out of here. So right now, before we get into any of that, after we intro the pod, we're getting into grounding. Grounding is the therapeutic practice that helps a person become more present. And we say that because sometimes our heads can be in different places than our bodies. Our minds are shifted in a certain space that our physical beings didn't make it to, sort of a thing. So in grounding, what did you say earlier? Ground down and go up? No. Something like that.
Yeah, ground down to rise. Ground down to rise.
Ground down to rise. And if we are here to go up, then Miss Kaye, hashtag come as you are yoga with my sister Wendy online, and you'll learn about that in the pay your due section. But Wendy brings that energy to the pod, so that's what we're going to capitalize on. So here we are, grounding. Take a moment to be here with me. Hear my voice, feel your feet, wiggle your toes, touch on your nose. And you're just doing that to recognize that you are here. Why don't you go and breathe a breath in, blow a breath out. Do that again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you're just doing that to take a moment to own this miracle we call life, that you are breathing and winning just by living this life, just by spending this time with my voice right now. You're investing into your betterment. And I'd like you to sit with that and feel proud. And welcome to our space. Let's go up. We're going to start this with this is a technical break it down. It's 50 years of hip hop. And when this episode comes out, it'll be while hip hop is about to turn 50. Hip hop turns 50 August 11th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's also Ali Shaheed Muhammad's birthday.
Happy birthday in advance.
In advance. We will probably, I'll see where he's at. Because everybody's going to be doing something, so I don't even know if he'll be in town. But that would be sick if I could go, if we could take this over to him and record him for the 50th episode, for the August episode.
Oh,
that would be really nice. And it's his birthday.
Yeah.
So part of love culture, that's a good, so remind me, well, this episode will be out. So
yeah.
Life will remind me I said that. But, so because of that, every episode we've been doing a Break It Down this year. Break It Down is the segment of the podcast where we uncover the already there genius of hip hop and hip hop culture. Last week was our first ever live podcast taping.
Wow.
I made mention when two of our students, graduates, one is a graduate and one is a student still, Quavo and Alvin were sitting on the set in the Love Lounge, literally in the Love Lounge, because it was like a whole couch and everything. I kept making it a point, especially for people in the audience that are of mom and dad's era, or just people who don't normally look at hip hop and see what we see in hip hop. And I kept making it a point to say things like, this young man about to be an accountant, this young black man who earned 6 degrees from me and is about to become an accountant, he's hip hop. The kid I call Obama, our baby Bryson Moore, who will get to his high Y after this. Maybe we'll do his high Y. No, we'll do his high Y after this. Graduated from UCLA, decide as a doctor, was going to do things as a doctor, and then realized, you know what? I just want to be happier. I find more joy in acting. So he went into acting and things like that. But you ask him about hip hop, he has all these same answers of who motivates him, what types of songs make him think deeper and things like that. Like this UCLA grad is hip hop. Quavo, actor, moved here from the South to follow his dreams out here. One of the hugest influences for how we have this space here. Yeah. These are all kids that we met on a college campus. This is hip hop. You and I are both edutainers.
Yeah.
This is hip hop. I kept making it a point to say that because I feel far too often within hip hop, we are depicted in outlets that, one, weren't created for us, two, don't have our best interests at heart, and three, I don't know that some of the media, social media outlets that show us actually seek to represent us.
Right.
Showing us and representing us are two different things. You see a lot of Black people on the news.
Absolutely.
That shows us. I don't know that it represents us as a people. So I wanted to bring that up because as we recap the event from last week, this podcast broadcasts the positive side of hip hop.
Yeah.
This has been our tenet since we started this almost 5 years ago, literally 4.5 years ago as of right now. This is not like, again, this episode is the recap, no cap, like no cap at all. This is 100% who and what we've always been. This is not, oh, it's a 50th year, so good marketing says we should probably include hip hop in our branding and the podcast. No. We came from the actual culture of hip hop. So I want to give the mic over to my sister as we break down this cultural event that was the physical manifestation of seeking out all the positive sides of hip hop culture.
Nice. Absolutely. Well, so one of the things I wanted to ask, and it was really important for me to start helping people understand how the Love Lounge live event even came into existence, because most people know about Raise It Up Why, the podcast.
Yes.
But with that introduction about hip hop and how important that was for the sake of our pod tonight, I want to, why is hip hop YN so important to you? I mean, you and I grew up in the same house. Yeah. We both enjoy music.
Yeah.
You, however, took a liking and approach to hip hop that no one else in the family really took. Why?
I found a positive sense of identity in hip hop as early as age 8. I went to school, and as one of the only Black kids in Glendale, California, we were, well, I was thicker. You were the thin,
burger bouncer.
Listen,
another story.
Different story, different day. Different story, different day. I know. I thought about me saying that, and I'm like, we could actually debate that point. But going on to say, comparatively to all of the ethnically diverse girls, white, Armenian, Southeast Asian, South Asian, all different types of Latino, most notably though Mexican, from Mexican descent, and Salvi.
And Guatemalan.
We have Guatemalan friends. So much diversity, right? But a lot of these girls were very thin. They had a certain look.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a Black girl look, especially, I don't know where that came from, especially not a YN big butt having thick girl look. So one week I was a fat girl, FAT, but I was so loved and liked by everybody. I don't think anybody would ever have called me that.
Right.
It was just, I knew I couldn't fit a lot of the clothes that the girls could wear. Even just you, me, mom going shopping, I couldn't fit what girls could wear.
Right.
So 2 things happened. One, I discovered cross colors.
Boy, that's throwing it back.
Oh, and 2, in the same vernacular, I discovered crisscross. Because if you don't know that, you're wiggity, wiggity, wiggity wet. No, but wearing your overalls backwards.
Yeah.
That I could wear overalls, and that was one of the items that actually could fit me. I was like, hold on, I like this. Having the big old African-inspired bright oranges, blues, whites, reds, like colors, just greens, just, you know what I'm saying? Like all of this was like, oh yeah. And I felt pride. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm just going to the boys section of clothes because the boys' clothes are the only things that can get around my butt.
Right.
Right? So that was one thing. But the second and bigger thing was there was one week I went to school and I was FAT. With one song hitting the airwaves. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. But when a girl walks in with an itty bitty face, itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
Woo!
Okay. I promise you, the song comes out and with the little skit with the white girls and Becky, look at her butt. I mean, it's so big. It's like one of those black girls in that rap video, like all this different stuff. I promise you, and I don't want to say all these people's names, but you know who live down the hill and all these people. They were like, guys, this is like in a week's time. Wyan's not FAT, she's PHAT.
Oh my God.
Pretty hot and tempting. So if you can believe it, that was the beginning. I'm talking 1990.
Wow.
This is I'm 3rd grade Miss Twix class. Like this is not like made up.
Incredible. So you found a sense of acceptance.
And positive identity. Positive self-identity.
Right.
In hip-hop culture, I didn't know words like objectification. I didn't know concepts like misogyny or this and that, blah, 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 blah. And if you teach it to me in hip-hop, then I would have asked, why didn't you teach it to me at the Budweiser commercial?
Very good point. Right.
Like, don't pick and choose when you want to start to introduce me to those big concept words, especially as a little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a good point.
That's just, that's a whole different topic.
But I think that's important to talk about because a lot of people didn't realize that you liked hip hop that much. I mean, these are the remarks that I'm hearing from the audience and from knowing the different people there. So as people are continuing to understand Raise It Up Why, and you and like, why all this or how did this come to be? I just thought that was really important to share.
Very.
So your podcast began.
Yes.
And it kind of comes from based on your research as well. You are a master's degree holder at MSW.
Yes. Master Social Work. Mm-hmm.
Your title of your thesis was?
I Let My Music Speak For Me. The role of rap music in identity formation among Black adolescents, a retrospective study.
It wasn't just males. It was
ladies and gents.
Ladies and gents, okay.
16 subjects in a qualitative research model.
So, again, as her own personal self in 3rd grade, now as a young 20-something graduating with her master's, that's what her thesis is on, identity and
the role of rap music in it.
And the role of rap music in it. And now she's at the point of teaching counseling at PCC. So I'm moving it forward to when you met Jaquavis.
Yes.
So
our baby boy.
he was there that evening along with Alvin on the sofa.
Oh yeah.
And he was sharing that, well, you shared how the young men would listen to you talk, to the point where you would literally be at work counseling, trying to get your work done, and then you would stay done at 4 but stay until 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And wait, and Onette can attest to it, because there were days where she would be like, "Hey, why I'm out? Like, I can't do it again today. Not again."
And and these young men who don't normally, gotta remember, we are literally in the day and age where these young people are texting when they're just in a room over. Like, they won't call, they won't come and talk to you face to face. You can't get them out of your face, and as they pick your brain about, what do you think about this rapper or this thing or that? And naturally, as you build that rapport, you start getting into other concepts.
Yes.
Why was it so important for you to create Raise It Up Y and direct it toward Black males?
Black young men get an unfair shake at this education thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have been in education for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're still in it. I stopped being formally in it in 2021 at 16 and a half years of being an educator. You started 2 years before me, so you're at least 18 at that time. So you got your 20. You're 20 in. You started in 2003. It's 2023. You got 20.
Dang, why I didn't even notice that?
I'm real, nigga. I'm very smart. Come for me. You understand me?
Put an age, a score.
Listen, Wendy got a score, and one of my favorite albums is The Score. Hip hop. My bad. Put the mask on the face just to make it each day. Hey. Listen, Wendy, I probably played that for Wendy. But anyways, no. In this education thing, and we taught for the second largest school district in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles Unified, second largest behind New York, only bigger than third Chicago Unified.
Right.
So, since education at the K through 12 level is a federal mandate, I say that as a school social worker, a federal mandate, all humans between the ages of 6 and 17 must go to school.
Yeah.
Which type of school, that's up to a parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you must go to school. And if you rob the student of that opportunity, if you rob a young person of that opportunity, you, the guardian, have federal repercussions to pay for that.
Right.
Truancies, things like that and things. So I look at, over the span of being an educator and a school social worker. So I'm looking at students in a much separate way. But holistically, I see the overarching theme where Black young men were seen, they weren't represented.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Because you can show, you can display, you can have somebody go on, but how you represent them, what does that mean, at least in how you're saying this, the difference?
Nipsey Hussle. No, he a genius, he just can't claim it because they left him no platforms to explain it.
I think this is really important. I remember in college learning about the importance of slave narratives.
Yeah.
And this whole concept of people breaking down things like his story, history, who was telling these stories in these history books. And as we all know, there are at least 2 stories to everything, and then of course there's the truth.
Yeah.
But we're always looking from someone's lens as we're learning these things.
Oh yeah.
How do you represent? What is the importance that you found in doing Raise It Up Y and doing Love Lounges? Feedback that you've heard from the people who support.
Oh, no. I would have brought my screenshots, because whenever I get really inspired, I have a folder
But
they're being used. So but just in my
head, couple of just paraphrase, just for the sake of just this. But you can post it, or I don't know how you might want to clip it or something if that's even possible. But more so, that power of representing to me, I'm really big on the whole story. Yeah. And if you cut somebody out of telling their story
strategically and consistently, by the way, but continue.
If you continually, strategically and consistently only tell one story, you start to educate a world about what somebody is or isn't.
Yes.
So what have people said to you about the work that you've been doing?
The thing that I think I'm going back to is as the 2016, this is before Raise It Up Why actually it started. See? But it was after a few atrocities, human rights atrocities that happened to include Black men like Philando Castile or Alton Sterling, or, there's too many names now, unfortunately. But there was like a string, like there was in 2020, there was a string in 2016 as well.
Right before Live the Dream Tour. I remember that. I was at Denny's when that came up on my Facebook feed.
Yeah. It was 2016, which is a hard year. There was a lot of celebrity deaths. We lost Maurice, Natalie Cole, Prince. It was just a bunch. And it was just like, it didn't let up.
Right.
It didn't feel like it let up, at least. So I remember there was a meme that was going around. One of the content creators back in the day, he had a song in the sound of Next's Ooh, how I like, try but I'm excited.
Yeah.
And it had the Constitution behind him that said all men are created equal after all these Black men were being slaughtered. And this dude's face was on it talking about, why you always lying?
Right.
So I put that up, and then I put up a picture of our little brother, Warren. And I says, when I hear these headlines, I see my baby brother, I see my dad, I see my uncles, I see a bunch of Black men that are more like Kendrick Lamar, which is why I'm so drawn to his work, because he represents the good kid from the Mad City. Our baby brother don't do none of the bullshit, none of the gangbanging, nothing that if you saw a Black man from LA, everybody is going to assume him to be fill in the blank. Whatever you think he is, I'm telling you, you're already wrong.
Right.
Our little brother is nothing close to that. And it was paining me to know that he lives in a world, especially in Glendale, California, used to be the head of the KKK, where if he walks down to the Americana, when they see Yumi and Whitney, they see like beautiful Black young women, they see possibility, they see something to lust after if we keep it in a stack. And then when they see Warren with one or two of his friends, they see a gang. That makes me think of the slavery laws where 3 couldn't be gathered. It's actually what's based, and this was my last paper in my master's program when we had to dissect policy. And I focused on gang injunctions because, of course, that relates to hip hop a lot. And I particularly spoke about a lot of the ciphers that would happen in Lamert Park and how when the police wanted to stop the peaceful unifications of all of these people, I'm talking about diverse people, Wayne would take Janelle Delgado, our sister. So this is like Far Side would be over there. And so we're talking about like Trek Life types of crowds. And because these people were getting together, almost like some Black Wall Street shit, they were getting together, meeting peacefully, and maybe cops didn't fuck with that. They were mad that they weren't fitting a stereotype. They put out a gang injunction. And it was the exact same thing, which is if 3 or more of them are together, they can wrap them all in. Remember B. Astrachan? when he would talk about to our students and say, if you're hanging around them and they give you that slip and say, just give us your names, they're not just taking your names, they're putting you in the gang profile. So if your homeboy or your brother or your cousin happens to be from somewhere,
wow,
Warren would get lumped in if Warren's friend happened to be associated.
Right.
And that's just the part that would be like, hey, yo. And I know I've gone away from education. My point was with bringing up.
No, you're right on point.
In education.
But you're giving
this is where everybody has to go. That's what I'm saying.
You're giving the context too, because I asked, why was it important to support these Black men? So you are absolutely on point.
It happens. And then in education, there's I'll send it to you. I'll post it if I remember to do it. But Onette, remind me I said this, please, at some point. They did a study. This was a TED Talk, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what college, maybe Stanford or Princeton, somewhere the people were at. They did a study and they told preschool and kindergarten educators that they were studying for one thing, of course, and they really, of course, weren't. You know how that goes. So they controlled for all variables so that the subjects, aka the educators, the young school teachers, wouldn't know what the researchers were actually looking at. They were supposed to look for something else, but what the study actually was gauging was misconduct in classrooms. The subjects were looking at 4 hired actors, all kids, like babies, like 5, 6 years old, a white boy, a black girl, a black boy. All educators, indiscriminately, Black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, LGBTQ plus or not. When the idea of misconduct came up, they had neurotransmitters gauging how the eyes were moving, the ocular movement. When they brought up the idea of misconduct, all educators, that means Black women, that means Black men, that means gay educators, everybody looked at the Black boy. Black men, American Black men, have some of the lowest reported engagement for school belongingness. School belongingness is one of the highest features in success, matriculation, in graduation, in a sense of morale and school spirit,
right?
Things like that. All these like protective factors that make sure that you don't drop out or that you do get your degrees or go all the way wherever. Because from the time those boys are 5 and 6 years old, it didn't, I need y'all to hear this. The educators' demographic didn't matter. White, Black, female, male, non-binary, it did not matter. When the concept of misconduct in the classroom was brought up, all subjects, not a significant amount, I'm talking 100%, looked at the Black boy. That's not by accident. They did not look at the Black girl and they didn't look at the white kids.
No, it's a systematic thing. And that goes into what we were talking about. That was a podcast that I shared with that gentleman. But
I'm not done reading.
They have they have studies that show, the systematic racism that occurs for Blackness.
The Black women that pass, he said a wealthy Black woman fares less well than a poor white woman in the medical field.
Giving childbirth. Something as routine as that. There's still more mishaps, and that's from all the stereotypes, the same sort of circuitry that across the board, if you live in this society, that's how you see things. Yeah. So it's like so programmed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even the Black folks do it to each other.
Yes.
Themselves. Yeah.
And this is why I say where the podcast is concerned, that the Black young man who identifies with hip hop the Black American, and I say that specifically because I have research that shows that this doesn't go for all Black men.
Mm-hmm.
Black men from the Caribbean or Black men from the motherland don't have the same lived experience
Mm-hmm.
per my research. If things have changed, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you what I've researched and what I can not prove, what I can show,
Right.
sort of a thing. The Black American male who identifies with hip hop is the first person I seek to reach with this information because there are so few places where that demographic is being served that's not jail.
Right.
Because
good point.
when you want to talk about where a Black man who identifies with hip hop, mostly heterosexual, that's a different story as well. Not a different story, really. I'm just saying when you place homosexuality or non-binary or any concept within the LGBTQ plus community, because there are so many safe spaces that are being created now for that community, they just take care of their own. So if you happen to be Black and male, you just get that same little overarching coverage. So what I'm saying is, if you
specifically sought out to be a safe haven.
That's what I'm saying. In 2016, same year that I told you about the Why They Always Lying, at the college where I used to work, I had my boys, almost all valedictorian type of boys. They all had 3.4s to 3.45s to 4.0s, clearly, in a college setting. And Bryson Moore was one of those. So he can attest to this story. I can bring him on the podcast. They came up, Captain America, Scroggins. They came up. They were like, "We quit."
Right. They were all in classes like engineering or accounting.
They came to the center and they said, "Miss Y, what the fuck does it matter? Why should we do well? It doesn't matter." You see what they just did? Philando had just happened. The Philando Castile.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did on their behalf was I went to lobby. We had something called Safe Spaces. I'm sure you have it on your campus where you work. It mostly safeguards the LGBTQ plus community and undocumented students here in Los Angeles at the very least. I don't know where people, I don't know who it covers anywhere else. That's what I mean to say. I said, you guys see what's happening with these Black boys.
Right.
Shouldn't we have something for Black young men to know that they have a safe space here on this campus, to know that they are safe? And we just got told, well, you know.
So going into this is great because now we're getting into all of the makeup of who you are. That's what I was trying to say on the couch that
night. Yeah.
This has been who you've been forever.
Ever.
We had that whole conversation the last time about you're clearly a beautiful woman. And in your natural, just how you naturally grew up and just how you live your life, you tend to have more masculine energy. So
sporty versus sexy.
I think it was such a beautiful calling, and this is me now giving my observation of just how God uses you.
Yes.
Because in your expression of, and you're part of the glory of God, you literally are the perfect balance of femininity and then also someone that can cut through the noise to be heard by the people who need to hear it, who you're seeking to build this space for because one did not exist. And that to me is a really important takeaway. Build it. If it doesn't exist, build it.
Yeah.
And so now we have Love Lounge. And that was not around when you first created Raise It Up Y, which started, Raise It Up Y began in what year?
2019, January.
So 2019, January. And you began Love Lounge in
May 26th, 2020. As we know it now.
Right.
As we know it now. Going live across social media platforms.
Especially on the 13s.
Started on Facebook. Right. So that started our brother, and I told this story that night during the Love Lounge. Shouts out to Benjamin Flukas, our Boston Connect. You understand? When Trayvon Martin happened,
right? When
that was like July 2013, something like it. I don't get me the line, because I just don't remember the date. I do remember the year. I know it was 2013, and he said he put on my wall on Facebook, YN, do something, do something. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm fucked up too. What do you want to do? Like, you want to talk about it? Like, let's talk about it then, I guess. So I went live. People came into that space and we just processed. I wasn't even a therapist at that. That's not true. I did have my degree then.
Right.
I've had this degree a while now.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's just process then. Let's just talk about it. Like, what are you thinking? What would you have wanted to see? What should happen? Like, and so then a year later in 2014, when there was no indictment, it was like hey, yo, the bat signal went up. And it's like, let's talk. Let's talk about it. Like, what does this mean? And there was one day, I almost want to say, Zelike, you in there? Yeah. You have your phone on you? Can you see if November 18th, 2016 was a Tuesday? I'm almost certain that was the date.
2016?
2016. November 18, 2016. We're going to see right now. I think it was a Tuesday. And I'm saying that because, or you put it in Google too.
Was this right?
You can ask Google.
Was this right after the president? Was this a year when the president was
Yeah, it was actually.
In? But that was earlier in the month of November, right?
I said 2016. I'm gonna say 2014. Can I lie? Can I go back? 2014, Wendy.
Okay.
2014. But it was a Tuesday. What day was it?
November 16, right?
November 18, 2014. 2014. I said the wrong stuff.
Okay.
That's right. It was me. It wasn't you.
18. That was it was a Tuesday.
This is how well I remember this day. You remember it too. They wanted to do Hands Up, Don't Shoot rally. She remembers this because she was there. They did a Hands Up, Don't Shoot rally. And it was going to be for our club hour. Instead of us going and talking, we were going to do, and it was like a huge demonstration on the quad of the campus for the college. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what you guys want to do? I'm helping them set their things up. They're like, yeah. So you probably going to want to talk about fill in the blank. And I says, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, well, you're going to speak. Like, they created me to speak and told me about maybe 12 minutes before we were going to go down. And I'm supposed to talk to the quad of people regarding this pending indictment, which didn't come until a week later. But I'm just saying, like, they were like, yeah, so Miss White, go down there and go talk. I'm like, you don't spring that on someone, sweetheart. Right. This is like, you got to give me time to think. Well, don't you have like 15 minutes? I love them like faith, Wendy. Right? Yeah. I love that they think the superwoman. So this is why this day is so important. I sing something. We have a conversation. I go to teach my class. I'm about to end my class early because I'm going to do my first music video for Terrace Martin's Times album, which is called Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I try to end my class early, and it's the one day that this particular class, you can just tell certain classes that don't give a fuck about the subject or whatever. This was the day they wanted to go deep. And I was like, I literally, because that Terrace was in Porter Ranch, I'm like, you literally have to be fucking kidding me. So I remember that particular day, there was tears, there was different stuff. It was the personal growth self-development course. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, let's come out. Everyone's seated. I need feet flat. We did a guided meditation.
Nice.
To kind of like wrap up the class. 'Cause I was just like, I just knew y'all love getting out early. Y'all can't stand class.
Oh my God.
Lindsay's husband was in the So I can't make this up. Okay. We wrap up the class. I get on my shit. I run to Porter Ranch, put on this, shoot a whole music video.
Wow.
And when this is done, it's 11:30 or something. Ty Cannon, who was just at Love Lounge Live, shouts out to Ty always, former Aftermath A&R.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yo. Hey, what's good? Your best friend said, come through. That's Dre. I says, huh. So at 11:50, I'm leaving Terrace. So it's now midnight when I pull up on Dre and them.
Wow.
I walk in Studio A, like a ghost way. I don't even know why I went in this way or whatever, but in this particular way, it's not like the main way. So I walk in and I see a whole room of people, and what are they talking about? I mean, do you really fuck with the police like that? Da, 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 da. In this Trayvon indictment, they were talking about what I started my day on.
Right.
But it went from my students at PCC all the way to Dr. Dre, and I don't want to lie, so I just can't remember. Some of the writers for Dre at the time were in there. So Mez, my homeboy JT or Justice, BJ, the Chicago Kid, might have been in there. Like this was around those times or whatever. I hadn't even met Anderson yet, so he wasn't there this night. But anyways, it was a bunch of dudes in there, and so then he turns around. This is when Dre was still calling me the professor. He was auditioning that. He was calling me that. And I looked, and the room got intense with the conversation. And he turned around. And he was like, "Why?" He said, "What the fuck do you like? What you think? What you think about all this shit?" And I was like, "I'm gonna tell you what I told my students earlier today." And I basically regurgitated the same thing that I wrote in 15 minutes to students, to Dr. Dre at the end of the day. And he had pushback for me. I'll be honest with you. And Dre, when he has pushback, he has pushback.
Yeah, I can believe that.
But my conversation was, where police are concerned with me, police helped us try to get as much justice for our brother when he was murdered in 2004, which was 10 years ago at that time.
Right.
I says, when I have issues, I don't run out and yell for the real niggas. Can real niggas please help and protect me? Mm-hmm. No, it's usually quote unquote real niggas that's committing some form of a crime. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm here to say, when I seek protection, I call out these gentlemen and ladies who serve to protect. And in my experience and a lot of other people's experience, they've done those jobs. I think they get represented when they fuck up the same way Black men do.
Wow.
Nobody's talking about the police. Hey, when people broke in over here, people came and they helped. The police, sheriffs they upped the patrol. They this, they that. We didn't kick their backs in. They did their job. So I just think people get exposed, not represented.
It's very, very, very similar to doctors. People think that just because you got a medical degree, you're going to always be in the practice. Well, that you're good at what you do. There's bad teachers. There's horrible doctors.
You and me have seen.
There are horrible, but that isn't the suit itself. And I think one of the things that in this society right now that we are being challenged to do is, one of the ways that, let's talk about technology for a second, even. Yeah. You have this platform because you didn't have to wait for an A&R to take you over to somebody to green light you.
Truth.
You took your mind, your research, and then you coming together to doing this, so that you can have an outlet to educate, to edutain.
Yeah.
And I think that is what right now is so important, because more voices like yours need to be, and it does open the gateway or the floodgates rather for all voices to come in. And, people once again have to be smart. They have to be wise to know what tables to eat from.
Right.
And it's going to be what resonates for them, as it always has been.
Yeah.
However, there are no gatekeepers for you to get out here and put your message forth.
That's the positive in the social media era.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, talk about breaking it down and where the genius of hip hop culture gets uncovered, the already there genius.
Mm-hmm.
I asked students who had heard of the platform Versus,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them had not.
Mm-hmm.
During a time where there was nothing on, there was no programming that was being greenlit, everything was on the fly. People, and what you always say, innovation comes from the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you had all of these you were either watching syndicated television,
Mm-hmm.
something that was already on your Netflix or whatever streaming site that you fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were on social media, the form of entertainment
Mm-hmm.
was Versus.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have told TJ, I'm not sure who I told. I says, I want to see how long it's going to take the news to cover Versus.
Right.
Wendy, it took forever. Nothing fucked up, no negativity, just hip hop providing some form of positive consuming content.
I feel like I started seeing like highlights covered when people like the Isleys versus Earth, Wind, and Fire. That
It
Easter.
has already been on for a year.
Right. I'm way down here.
I was gonna, yeah.
That to me, I was, just to get the clip back in there, I was saying that I remember Versus making it on the news when Isleys battled Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
And you were saying that it had already been on a year. I think that everybody has a script. You know, we have scripts. We have things that we are naturally more predisposed to say out of our mouths based on practice and habit. We have certain information that is more digestible,
Yeah.
based on what's habit. So, you know, once again, these sorts of conversations, these sorts of platforms are important because it is a re-education.
I'm still an educator and an entertainer, an edutainer. In the same way, I'm not a traditionally practicing therapist. I'm clearly not a traditionally practicing educator either. You know what I'm saying? I since I've had a hiatus from formalized education, one monkey don't stop no show.
Mm-mm.
So, and whatever I'm teaching in college is a pre-approved by the state of California, you know,
Right.
not diagram, not diatribe, not
Discourse?
diagnose, not discourse. It's its own
Curriculum?
curriculum. It was going to be another word, and I don't know why the dia word, not diagonal. I just can't see what the dia word.
Diorama.
Yeah,
Linoleum.
Wendy, listen to me. No, diagram. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Wendy and I are wordsmiths, so like that kind of stuff intrigues us. But something that's been pre-approved by the state of California.
Yeah.
Hip hop is just turning 50. How many hip hop heads do you think are creating curriculum to be acknowledged and approved by the state of California for theoretically based places like USC or UC Berkeley?
Right.
Or when they told me I couldn't teach a music class at the college where I worked, and then instead 1500 or nothing invited me to build a whole school
Mhm.
with the same brain that they told me wasn't okay to teach a course. We built a school that now has a subsidiary school in Japan.
Wow.
And we also have others coming. Like in my head, I'm like, there's an antediluvian piece to traditional education, you know, and that's hip hop mnemonic device.
GRE.
That was
I
a
was-
GRE
I
word.
was
Wendy.
studying for the GRE for my master's program.
That's how I learned that word with Wendy and Missy Elliott. Thank you, Missy.
Get your feet
Get your feet
Get your feet going. Yeah, no, we always had to figure out fun ways to remember.
Literal. But no, that the reason I continued to be an educator, and I still claim these years as education years. So where you have your 20, I'm still at 18.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped being an educator. I haven't stopped educating.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And if I told the angels this, and our girl Sam, so I call those my girls. When it's no Sam, then I call it my angels because they're the assistance team. But I told them at the end of last year, starting 2023, we were kind of looking at where we wanted life to go. We were just, strategizing. The end of the year is a lot of nostalgia, a lot of excitement, anticipation. I says, I'm on go. Like I got the green light from someone I quite apparently think I need the green light from. So I said, if y'all, Sam, Susie, and Onette are telling me that I'm dope every single day, and y'all telling me why, you got the juice, you got it, like just keep going with it, and I can't hear you or I can't hear that message until Dr. Dre tells it to me, I'm the fake bitch. Y'all not fake and Dre not fake. I'm fake because I could only be affirmed by the ambassador of the West Coast. If it's true, it's true. Like 2 + 2. It don't matter who the fuck teaches you 2 + 2 is 4. It's gonna be 4 whether someone on the street strung out tells you, or whether a Harvard professor tells you. Truth is truth. Capital T, I think you said. Capital T. So if I'm dope, first of all, I need to be able to look in the mirror and accept that truth.
There you go.
I have to be able to accept that. So if I can't hear it from my friends and my babies, but I can hear it from DJ Premier, there's a YN issue happening. There's not a somebody else issue happening. That's why this podcast builds self-worth in all people who listen.
Self-awareness too?
Self-awareness, well, that's what we raise.
That's what
we raise self-awareness. But I have a bad habit of introducing people to their self-worth. I enjoy introducing people to the worthiness within them because I taught it to myself in helping other people. Because, these are all things that I'm learning and disseminating as well. And you start to learn, I know my worth in the booth. I know my worth in a classroom. And so then when YN would look in the mirror, I could see my worth if I could see my Grammy nom behind me, or if I could see you understand me? As this process, as this podcast continued to grow, I had to start seeing YN without all her accolades or her attachments.
There we go.
Just YN. And when I realized, I still have more work to do. This was back in 2019. This was back in 2018 before I started the podcast. I'm like, I thought I had this thing licked. I got a little more work to do. My culmination year, because I think my life happens in 3 year spans, another conversation for another day.
So funny.
But the pharmacy years were 15 to 18, 2015 to 2018. 2018 to 2021 have been worth years. They are the years that if I didn't do this step, the next place God is taking me wouldn't have meant shit. Because I would have still been attributing it to everything but mine and his connection, or my alignment and my ability to know that I am safe and rest into what he already got going for me. You understand me? Like, it wouldn't have meant this much when.
And so that right there, and just a word to anybody, talking more about, I think we understand where all of this came from, why this is so much of a passion of yours. I mean, it really is you raising yourself up. When they tell you that when you start a business, when you do anything, more than likely your audience is you. It's an aspect of you. And
I don't run from that.
When it comes to what you're doing here, like, where do you see things going when it comes to Raise It Up Y and Love Lounge? Like, if you just had to put, it's totally possible that
Raise It Up Y uh, the podcast earns its own show on a network that allows me to be myself in full color. I don't even know that it would be a network. I think I'm too real for TV. No cap. I think I would have to be on some form of streaming, like direct to consumer type. Netflix is who I have a crush on for some reason, mainly because I have bingeable content because I've been doing this, for 5 years.
Yeah.
Also, they're starting a part, but I think about the fact that I want to be able to have more live studio audience interaction. We spoke a lot about Raise It Up, why the Love Lounge experience is a subsidiary, the forum or the seminar piece to the lecture component podcast piece that is Raise It Up Why. Love Lounges house the discussions, the explorative, the discovery, the uncovering that we bring up in topics here on the podcast. To further points that I've brought up on the podcast, I'll even use things like pop culture or, what things that are going on in pop culture in order to make it like more real. Like we're not just talking about this like, oh, that's episode 13 and that was episode 51, whatever. Like, no, like these are real things that are going on and happening. And as they're going on and happening, this is how it looks in this part of hip hop or this current news event, the current news story, let's just say, that's happening with this new rapper or this OG rapper or whatever it is. Like, these are all things that are really happening. And we have discussion that promotes healthy and positive progressing discourse. I think today we have this, well, I agree with that. I'm like, you don't have to agree with that, actually. My name is YN Vaughn. I'd like to meet you. How YN thinks and how you think doesn't have to be the same thing.
Right. People think that you having an opinion of your own is crucifying them. You having an opinion that differs, not even saying anyone agrees with you, just you having an opinion that is different from somebody else, has been equated the way it's treated as if you're assaulting somebody and you're just being you. But that's a whole nother conversation.
But that's those types of conversations on all sorts of social media platforms. We've kind of narrowed it down to just IG and AMP. Just to, so YN can still have a life. Y'all, I need to get in the gym. I don't have C cup arms. I have D cup arms now.
YN.
Hello. Holler at her if you hear her. Everyone that is now listening just ran to YouTube to see the twins. No, I'm messing with you. But I literally just learned I had D cups like 6 days, like 4 days, like 2 days ago.
My sister, I have to say, I love this girl. Well, this is one thing. Just to go back to, since it's a recap.
Yes.
I want to hear, give 3 words to describe what Love Lounge Live LA, the experience was for you. Your first one, your very first one. 3 words to describe how you felt.
That's a sentence. Dream come true.
Okay.
But no, if we're just using adjectives, unexplainable. Literally extraordinary. Extraordinary, you know what I mean? And divine.
Oh, nice.
It's a love divine.
Yes. No, y'all.
Maybe you can sing that.
Those are all my questions, Wyatt.
Now,
important.
for the very shortest get raise you've ever seen, what are your 3 words to describe what you experienced at Love Lounge Live LA? Recap, no cap.
It was inspiring.
Ooh.
It was inspiring. It was, what is the one word? it felt good to support or celebrate you. So I don't even know if
Celebratory.
it was definitely a celebration. But I mean, like, for me, knowing all the work and all the behind the scenes and all the things of that, like,
it felt what's the word? What's a good one word?
Almost
for
like
that?
In prayer, it's like intercessory prayer, but it was almost like, y'all help me with this.
Yeah, in the comments, please.
Yeah,
help with that word. What would be that word?
I mean, it was good to be supportive, but it sounds like I feel like there's a better word than that.
Yeah.
But something almost like, just like, I was just so excited to be there and like just see like your just, it was like a intoxicating kind of thing,
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, inspiring, and it can also go with maybe like lesson. It was a good lesson of perseverance, of your no matter what, like just keeping true to your vision, your ability to manifest, to bring forth this thing with all of these people on a Thursday, y'all. People flew in from around the country,
literally
came from around the city. It was a remarkable feat, and it was not something that happens without planning and without intention and purpose, all of those things. So that is what I was able to just enjoy, and the fact that I know how much of it came from your own brow.
Yeah.
So, that is every single thing that like the Rockefellers, like all the people that built stuff, that is how it's built. And I believe that's what you were setting down, those train tracks,
Nice.
So that was my takeaway.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love that. Any part that stood out the most to you, for you?
The all-encompassing, how not one thing was wasted.
Nice.
The space comes from students that you mentored and or taught or counseled while at PCC. They own the space. They did your first video, Wake Up.
Yep.
They were now here in their studio, IFB, shout out.
Mm-hmm.
And to the beautiful brothers, Richard and Ryan. Family.
Yes, because their mom was there.
I didn't get a chance to see her this time. I know they come to our family barbecue, but it's like favor and family and all of the aspects of your life, brought to you in this beautiful love lounge with friends and folks and the masterminds. Like, nothing was for naught.
Yeah. All
of it has a purpose.
Yeah.
The whole story has a purpose. And that for me has been a theme of this year in general. So, that's my lens looking at it.
4 generations of group.
Yes, 4 generations of group.
The niece and nephew.
There. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
That was like, is Niecy and Neffy really on this stage right now? Like, they will always be able to see those pictures in the video when it's edited and stuff.
5 months old.
5 months old. Like, Niecy and Neffy, I can't wait for you to see this 10 years from now and be like, you were talking about me on your podcast back then. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Like, you were so planned for.
Yes.
You were so designed there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just in this juncture, the worthy factor, like, these people flew in for this space that I created. It's not they flew in for me, because they didn't. They flew in for themselves to be counted and accounted for in a space that we all, you included, we all have created over these past 3 years. And what I wanted to also say as we segue into the third, like I said, it's going to be the shortest get raised you ever saw. That was it. But the as we segue into the third portion of this, which is the high why, Love lounges are the discussion space for topics brought up on the podcast, which is
Right.
like the lecture space,
Right.
right? The questions that are asked in the Love Lounge are usually high wise or
Right.
something like high wise, which is one of the segments of my podcast where viewers can and Love Culture members really can contact me by DMing at Raise It Up Y RAISEITUPWY
Right.
and the Love Say Rockets Open these hosts. But they get to DM me and ask questions just about whatever they want to know. You know what I'm saying? And I'll either answer it on the next pod, or if it's like good, and I think it'll generate really good discussion, we take it to the Love Lounge. That's how that goes. You know what I'm saying? So some of the high wise come right here, but most high wise, bigger topics get taken into the Love Lounge, or sometimes raise them up / get raised. I'll be like, I'll ask you, Wendy, I need you to call in on AMP because I have a question and I need to hear your feedback on it, sort of a thing.
Right.
But it ends up working for the whole room or the whole culture. Love Culture gets to benefit from it, sort of a thing. So this high Y comes from my baby boy, Bryson Moore, who was the first face everyone saw at Love Lounge Live.
He was greeting us.
Greeting everyone, had on his suit. I used to call him Obama. So UCLA grad, go Bruins. We were talking the night that I said, would you be a part of this? I hadn't spoken to Bryson since 2020. And something in my spirit, God was like, hey, hit him up, see if he would want to. I think that would be a good look. I'm like, he is so represent, like he's so professional, he's so articulate, he's so well, yes. Okay, this is my Bryson impression. Okay, thank you. But he's just easy to look at, attractive young man, a sweetheart, just a good kid. We get done, I tell him all about Love Culture and all this shit. And he said, Miss Y, this sounds like something I might have even needed because, you know, I've just been thinking about stuff and we were just catching up about a few things on that phone call. And I finally said, all right, so where's she at? Where your little girlfriend? He said, oh, Miss Y, you know, his little, you know, self and everything. Check the time for the high Y. We'll do it.
One night.
And you put it on there. Write it in the notes. Okay. But he said, oh, Miss Y, my girlfriend. But it spawned such a good question that seems so rhetorical that I waited to bring it to Ask Wendy on this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a high Y, but it's going to be a high Y. Wendy with an I. Okay? But he said, Miss Y, I want to know, before I even answer that question, where my girlfriend is over there. He says, well, why do people need relationships? Why do we need relationships? Like, I know he was just giving me a few things that he had already decided for himself. I know this is what I want to do with myself. I know I want my life to look this kind of way. He just, you know, enumerated some things. And then after that, he was like, so if I know these things, why do I need a relationship? Wendy, what function does relationship service in our lives?
Well, you know, we're talking romantic partnership or just relationship.
Do you see what happened? I told you, when we use the word relationship.
Well, I'm also looking at the fact that you said
I did.
girl.
Oh, damn it! I did say that. My bad. But no, this topic came up in the Love Lounge on AMP and the other day when I was talking about relationship. No, and we were on Instagram too. I asked about relationship. I didn't give them the backstory of Bryson when I told it, and I said, why relationship? Everyone only took it And I made sure to say, I'm talking about all relationship.
Well,
Everyone
now,
took it only to romantic.
If you were, okay, so for the sake of just where this question came from,
yes.
And, okay, that's the context. But in terms of relationship in general.
Yes, relationship in general. Why relationships? Why?
Community has always been important for survival. Clans band together, marriage. The reason these things were a thing at all is because it was about survival and thriving.
Yes.
And we don't have, when you'll hear more about this in that thing I shared with you.
Okay.
We don't have the institution, the fabric that we had back in the day, because everything, I told you this the other day, personalization and customization has allowed people to make their own playlists. People can go and look at their own shows on YouTube. They can then go to Netflix and have their own profiles and only watch their shows. We don't all come around the dinner table a lot anymore because everybody has different schedules. You know, you may be in the same house, but you're not necessarily working at the same jobs or going to the same schools. Like, the things that people have in community with each other are fewer and further between. And a lot of that happened with industrialized. It happened with work. Work was something that brought people together. Even back in the day before we had technology, the work of making food together. The men went and hunted. The women set the stage for when they brought the meat back, and then they cooked it together. Work brought communities together.
Wow.
There's no way around that. So when different things started to break apart, because now what do you have? You have church, family, school, and then work today is a place where people are together. But with so many things that technology has disrupted, for, you know, all the good, bad, and in between, if you want to use those words.
Thank you.
Now we have, you know, the industrial jobs that were here. They got outsourced.
Yes.
And thousands of people lost their jobs. And then people had to go and find their own ways and create their own things. And some of those things, it's a team of one or at least very few, because it's not enough income for everyone to be vested that same, because we still have a life to live. And so you see, like, it's not any one thing.
No.
As to why the relationship breakdown has happened.
Got it.
But the relationship is important because people need to have community.
Yeah.
You know? And I know that because of all of those things I described, not to mention when people are harboring certain, like, hurts, let's say, when it comes to certain things or whatnot, and then it makes them kind of go more into those little silos that we were talking about.
Yeah.
When those sorts of things tend to happen, normally as we get older, not so much when you're younger.
No.
Then people start to become hermits, or, like, you know, they kind of like try to just in a self-protect kind of way.
Do you? Okay, I want you to finish.
So there's a distrust sometimes when it comes to certain relationships. So now when you go into certain types of relationships, you learn people use different words to describe boyfriend, girlfriend. They don't even want to use those words because they've been bruised so badly by those kind of titles.
That's true.
They'll make up other words.
Yeah.
To even for words like friend.
Yeah.
People will make up other words. So I'm just saying, it's a deep conversation.
That's true, actually.
But you're in relationship with everything, whether you want to call it a relationship or not, because that's the thing. Relationship in it of itself is another word that can bring a lot of angst.
And there's so, like I said, in the Love Lounge this past week on Love Tuesday.
Yeah.
I said the word relationship, and I described why relationship, like why at all, why this and that, and I said all this stuff. The entire chat almost was romantic relationships. Well, I stopped dating at this and that. I says, guys, like, no, I was okay. Maybe I explained a second time and I'm thorough. I was a basic math instructor. I do this.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships. It went right. I'm sorry, romantic relationships. It went right back there, and I'm like, so I said, okay, maybe I'm not seeing this right. Is it because everyone's in the intimacy versus isolation stage, the generativity versus stagnation stages of life? My most in my demographic of listeners, whether it's the podcast or whether it's even my followers that are in on the love lounges, is between 35 and 44. That's the biggest chunk. Directly under them is 18 to 25, somebody like that or whatever. It's the younger folks right under them. And then right under them is older than 44.
Okay.
So it's like, you don't know who you're going to be around in the love lounge. I'm thinking of, this is the time where I shout out all my loves. I'm thinking of OGs like Six Teddy 13, aka Mama's Teresa's. That's her love name. Mama's Teresa's, and let's just say Mama's Teresa's and Love Badger. You know, at Independent D, these people they represent. Put it like this: they're mom and dad's fans,
right? Exactly.
Who became like, they happened to like hip hop and they happened to fuck with us,
right.
So they became loves,
right.
But they really know mom and them music. You can juxtapose them with, you know, my students. They're all of the 25. That's why I have the numbers at 25, is because these young niggas over here. The 35 to 44-year-olds would be Urban Counselor. This is Mitson. This is our baby Nuji. This is Cash. This is Soundtrack. This is like, there's all these folks in that range, and look at how many I was easily naming. And I'm just Faithful Coffer. Like, I'm just naming people that everyone kind of knows in love culture, and who were there that night. But in that age bracket, we're going through these not challenges. We're going through these stages in life that are characterized by, per Eric Erickson, that are characterized by what type of relationships we keep, intimacy versus isolation, and what we're giving back to society, generativity versus stagnation. So sometimes people think that generativity versus stagnation means, do you have kids or not? Because root word of generativity, think of generation.
Oh.
So you're thinking of, right?
Oh, I want to hear this in like degenerativity. I'm like, dang.
I love it. Yes. No. If you generate, what are you generating? What are you giving back out? So some people look at that like, oh, did I become a mom? Or did I become a parent? Or am I creating a family that way or whatever? If you've been an educator as long as we have, you've had auntie vibes. We've had auntie vibes since we was 21 and 23.
Yeah, very true.
You started this trek around then. I started that trek around then. So it's like, if you want to start like knowing when we started giving back to be communal or generative, we've been, sowing seeds for 20 years.
No, this whole concept of relationship, it's a deep one, and it's safer. I get it. I understand why people would think that they don't want any parts of it.
Yeah. Because
we live in a great deal of uncertainty. And, it's hard enough just to get to know yourself. Trauma, which we talked about today.
Gentleman. Yeah.
So, it's definitely something that when you bring another person into your fold, even one more person, you're dealing with all their stuff.
Yes.
Like, if you're really going to partner with somebody in anything, you are saying yes to some of their stuff. And
At least some. If not all.
You're saying yes to at least hold space, not to necessarily take it on as if we're not talking about codependency.
No.
But we're just saying, in general, to be in community means you have to open yourself up to be heard.
Shit. Wendy, this is leading right.
And that's why I like, being meditative under the tree until that damn. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But y'all,
till that June bug got in her damn hair.
This
I do like I skinned that catfish. So we have done for you now a break it down where we recap, no cap, the Love Lounge Live experience, Love Lounge Live LA experience, first ever of its kind, which is hip hop. If you're hearing this and it happens to be anywhere around August 11th, happy birthday, hip hop. Happy 50th. This is the first time we've had grandparents talk about generativity in hip hop. Talk about generativity versus stagnation. Big Daddy Kane birthed Jay-Z, who births the Drakes.
Right.
Who births the... Huh?
I'm sorry. Now, I'm not the hip hop head, so I was trying to help.
I don't even gonna say. But a Drake, let's just say, who births, and all of these births is not saying anyone's son to anybody. I'm saying gives way to. I'm talking about generativity.
Right.
Generations of.
Right.
Migos. If you're talking, you remember Jay-Z out of his own mouth wanted to rap like Big Daddy Kane. When you talk about people that were highly influenced by Jay-Z, you're going to talk about somebody like Drake because Jay-Z was the biggest thing of an era and Drake is the biggest thing of an era. But we can't leave it there because the Migos created an entire sound. Look at the flick of the wrist. Look at the... When everybody started doing the triplets.
Didn't know that was Migos.
That is 1000% Migos. Rest in peace. Take off always. But... you have to look at that era, and then when you go beneath that, now mind you, I'm just naming one person from all. You guys know I'm leaving so many people out.
Where's Kendrick and all that?
Kendrick, Cole, and Drake are the same level.
Okay,
that's the same era of influence. That's the early 2000s, like the 2010s, not early 2000s. It's 2010s to 2020. That decade belongs to those three gentlemen, and Onika, why did I call her real name? Nicki Minaj and stuff like that or whatever. But once you bring up someone like Nicki Minaj, you have to bring up Wayne. If you're looking at just the feminine connection, if you bring up Nicki Minaj, you have to bring up Trina. You have to bring up Rhapsody, excuse me. Little Kim, Foxy.
Oh, those.
Little Kim, Foxy, Trina. All of that is the Onika. Why do I keep calling? I'm so sorry, Miss Queen. Radio lover. Nicki Minaj. For some reason, her name is so pretty and it's so unique. I just I like the name Onika. So that I guess maybe that's why that's happening. No clue. But Nicki Minaj. So talk about generativity.
Yeah.
There's so many family trees, and from being in Ninth Wonders class, arguably, there is no family tree in hip hop bigger than that of A Tribe Called Quest.
Wow!
It has it goes from Tribe all the way to Jay Dilla, to Battle Cat and Terrace.
Wow!
Like the sound of it,
jazzy.
It's that jazzy. He literally created his own time signature. There's a whole book about it. It's a long story, but but when you talk about a Tribe says you can't talk about this without talking about De La Soul. It didn't start here. It starts there. Like...
See?
They
don't really know. Proud of I know.
I'm very surprised that you knew that was Dilla?
Because it was Dilla Day, I think, and it was on my Apple Music.
Oh my gosh. I'm crying on this eye. Exactly. And that's just gonna dovetail us. Oh wait, no, I was just recapping. So we did a break it down. We did the shortest get raised you've ever seen. I asked Wendy 3 questions. Literally, no, 1 question, 3 answers. And then we did High Y about relationships. High Y is where Love Culture gets to ask questions that get answered here or in a love lounge. Okay, don't you do it. YN's words of wisdom.
What? Do I have to be on camera for this part?
Yes. Of
course
you do.
I don't know.
There's too many things to move, so you're just stuck.
Oh, okay.
All right. Drink your wine. Drink your wine, words of wisdom. Hello? Deputies, you thirsty? No, they're not double. It's just a single D.
When did you learn this?
Literally 2 days ago. Give me some of this. Some of this smile. No, I don't
does
want.
not like this. Look at her face.
I don't.
It's not
like
bad.
alcohol.
It's not.
That does not taste good.
It does.
YN's Words of Wisdom is brought to you today by Wendy's Wine.
She gonna get me.
Mitson is going to love this. This is Real Life versus Real Life Part 2. Real Life versus Real Life Part 2.
Why did she say that thing?
REEL versus REAL Life.
Yeah, why? Say it again. Sorry, I cut you off.
REEL Life versus REAL Life. That was a YN's Words of Wisdom in a previous episode. About a week before the Love Lounge Live experience, she was in the Love Lounge on AMP, I think, and she says, Mitson was. She was like, I think both masterminds were actually. This is not this past Tuesday, the one before the actual Love Lounge Live.
Right.
She says, YN, you have to revamp that. She says, that's just been like in my spirit. I just haven't been able to get that out. So once we actually did the Love Lounge Live LA experience, I'm like, this is the epitome of REEL life, or just a pseudonym for internet social media type of life, and its impact / effect on real, what now I call physical life, because in love culture, we do real shit, even though it's virtual.
Right.
Yeah. So when I say real life, when we're talking about love culture, I say virtual versus physical life. Because we're just real. So we don't really have to worry about like the fake real.
Exactly.
You get me?
Right,
like REEL, it's not for show, it's not for that.
That's a good point.
That's what I.
But what
didn't you notice that day, Wendy? Didn't we already feel like we already felt like family?
We did. And you know what? So what was it then? What did the in-person piece bring?
I learned all the female loves are fast in the pussies.
What?
Because everyone was lusting after Nuji.
Oh my gosh!
For people who are new here, you guys don't know what that means. We have a love named the artist Nuji. We play his music. We actually made him call in on AMP the other day. And Wendy, I played only like raunchy songs like for a minute. And I said, the brain of Mitson has overpowered me and the playlist. So literally all you ladies pop yo pussy like this, like all of the most horny songs I could find in quick time were coming on in the Love Lounge. They were laughing so hard. And Nuji was like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, listen, if I get one more lady love coming to tell me about how fine and REAL life you are, he was, and I could just almost hear his light-skinned cheeks turning red, because I'm just like, he was like, I was just chilling in the back. Right. I wasn't even.
And his whole thing is so mannerable.
He's so mannerable.
Oh,
he's a veteran.
God. Yeah.
His album is called Inexperienced Veteran. And my favorite song off of there is called Roses. So we always play it because that's my favorite song of his. But just the idea being, that was me being funny when I said, what did I learn? I said, everybody got the little pussy. Everybody got the little female pockets. All sweltering, huh? You got your little loud sermons happening out of your little Peters, huh? Your little Peter pockets got all nice and picked and peppered, huh?
Oh my God, why? Yeah.
I had about 2-3 of the ones in there. Hey, I didn't know such and such. Ooh, soundtrack really tall. I said, if you don't put your little flower back in your little Peter pocket, huh? Lipstick lovers, huh? Huh? I need everybody to zip up your your coin purse, huh? Out here. What?
Zip up your
little coin purse. What you doing, huh? Put your little 50-cent piece back, huh?
Oh,
Listen, no, I'm doing that because I know they're gonna die laughing when they see this. They're going to roll.
Ryan, that's hilarious.
When they see this. But no, in real life, shouts out to Nuji and everyone, my Kina Bean and everybody, they was laughing their ass off in the Love Lounge. Cara J, Miss O'Faith. What I learned was in physical life, this thing that we've been doing virtually has been so not even transparent, vulnerable. You can be honest, you can be transparent, you can be vulnerable. Right? And I can't take credit for that. I just heard that maybe on Joe's pod, where a separate set of breakdown happened. Because I was familiar with honesty and transparency, where when you're honest with someone, like, Onette, if you ask me something and I tell you the truth, I'm honest. If I offer you a truth that you could have seen even had I not offered it to you, but like, basically like, hey, you don't even have to ask me, let me just tell you, this thing that's going on. That's a sense of that's transparency. It's still an outward thing, though. Vulnerability is you would never know this outwardly. This is something that's happening inside of me. This is you understand? So like transparency is you see scars on me and I say, you know what? You don't even have to ask. I want to be transparent with you. I've been dealing with some cutting. That's transparent. But like we talked about that night at Love Lounge Live LA, everyone and what they're going through, people aren't wearing their hardships like scars, or everyone's hardship isn't available to earn them a handicap placard so that everybody knows, oh, okay, maybe I should be I should have a little more grace with this person on the road with me because maybe they're, going through some different experiences in life and I want to be a little more, kind. Or when you see someone's baby on board,
right,
you might drive around that car, even if that car is driving in a way that you're like, bro, I can't. You might just zoom around the car just as not to, you might not get behind the car and whack, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like just seeing that thing on the outside lets you know, maybe I can provide a little more compassion and grace to this commuter. Right. Student driver across the back of, there's certain things that give us indicators. But in this real life, REAL, what we've been doing in Love Lounges, that's why I had to use the word virtual versus physical, because we're real in these Love Lounges. Right. We've been real virtually with one another. So when we got in the physical space, everyone felt like family. I was trying to cut off people from who should come in the green room, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but it's Nuji, or but it's, but it's Cash. Whatever. Of course, Cash can't come in the back. No, of course Cash can come. Cash eats tacos at Auntie Pat's house. Yeah. We won't say whose. I know. I'm messing with you, Cash. I just did that because I'm on my podcast and you can't fight here. So that's the only reason. But any of that, like when we were there, everyone felt like family. So there was I didn't even boundaries. Like I didn't have a boundary. Everybody was. But we talked earlier in our meeting, the 13 Presents meeting, where it was like, I do for the next coming ones, I have to be able to have that time to regroup. I have to make sure I have a little bit of separation so I can like put something. I had not one sip of water for 5.5, 6 hours. Right. And that was just like, oh, okay, good to know. You got to go to know. So I didn't know that would be like that. But I felt so amazing with everybody that was a part of what I really learned. But like I say, we talked about honesty, we talked about transparency, the vulnerability that we all possess. We shared with one another stuff that we don't post. I know that Meditainer wasn't there in physical life. But when you build a connection so deeply with someone that when they buy a ticket or, give their donation and we collect it and they come to the Love Lounge and she realizes that she can't make it. She sends her husband after they just celebrated their anniversary 2 days before.
Like, no love.
That's real. Like, you sent me your husband, Mom. You sent me your husband. Like, y'all could have had a 4-day, like, after that shift that she couldn't get off that Friday, they might have had a whole weekend planned. And you said, what's important as I'm doing this, you have to go represent me to my culture, to my community.
Right. That was amazing.
The Meditainer blows my head off. Like, honestly.
She's a beautiful person.
She's I don't know, man.
All of them
Wendy. That's my
Messy
boy.
Boots was on.
My Messy Boots was virtual.
We had a virtual audience.
Love Crimson was on.
Yeah.
A new love. He had only been to 4 love lounges, and in the 4th love lounge, which was on AMP, the Tuesday before, he was like, "Wait, you're giving a virtual option? I would like to donate that to that ticket." I says, "Sure." So when he was seeing the Love Lounge live experience, that was only his 5th.
Yeah.
Chris Lee Studios has only been a love since January.
Yeah.
And of course we had Jodie's. Of course we had all of our classic loves.
Yes, sir. Right? There was it?
Yes, sir.
I love that. Yeah, he was hilarious.
Those are my babies. I'm trying to think of anybody that I haven't shouted out because Princess, Bubbly. Well, some of you guys I'm about to shout out in the pay your dues and everything, but I gotta shout out again, Miss Teddy, Miss Teresa, 6 Teddy 13. She not only sponsored, like she sent this and that. She was like, "Well, I'm gonna buy another ticket because I want to know that if people, I want to be able to sit, so I'm gonna buy this and that, and then I'm just gonna send that because if you can sponsor a student, and then if you can't use it for a student, just buy some ice. I hear it's expensive in California, so just buy some ice."
So funny.
Jodie's brought one of my students, Todd, that I've been knowing since he was 14 years old, and I hadn't seen him since 2019, 2020.
Todd came by way of Jodie.
Jodie's brought him.
I didn't know that.
Todd saw Jodie's in a Rockets Up on These Hoes sweatshirt at where they work, because I don't know if they want that to be known, at where they work, and they're co-workers right now. And Todd got protected. He says, "Hey, where'd you get that? Like, why do you have that?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a love." So there's this platform. And so Jodie's is sitting here trying to explain to Todd, who's worked on this pod before, what Raise It Up Why is. And Todd is like, no, I know. She's my mentor. Why do you know this and that? So they were...
That's so funny, YN.
It was just Wendy. That's why I'm like, inexplicable was the first word that came up when I'm talking about... I can
only imagine. You've been birthing, you come religiously... Don't eat dinners, go hours on end. This was giving birth.
This was real like that.
Yeah.
This was beyond REEL life. This was REAL life. I had to bring this back up because the masterminds, really Mitzen is the one, but Urban Counselor, of course, is one of our masterminds who was on the couch as well. In this process, what I learned is every investment we've made, you and me, I was telling them I think you were with Winter and Whitney. I says, all of the investors, I says, Wendy makes investments into this too. I says, she can't just pop in the kitchen and want to make an egg. Cause here we are sitting there, no, and I know it looks crazy to people who aren't reading the comments because it's YN yelling at her phone in the kitchen at a ring light, and Auntie Pat come in and be like, "You want tacos?" She look at me, "What's the matter?" So, but it's just it looks insane if you're not in our world. That's why we had to take the approach of, let me anchor everyone into the podcast so they understand what it created. The podcast created the Love Lounge.
Right.
Without Raise It Up Why, there would have been no love culture. I'm looking at all these little stickers and paraphernalia. There's not a love culture without the podcast. There's no loves. There's not a love lounge. There's not the space without all of this. So I just, in wrapping this up, thank you to everyone who has invested time, energy, resources into what we do. You all are exceptional. You all are amazing. There's so many of you loves that came, especially my music industry friends. I talk to you guys all the time, so I just haven't. But Mel, Ty Cannon, Mel Beats is the one that when I played that Winter Circle song, you liked it. He made that beat. But there's so many of you that I could sit here and make a pod out of just naming all of you and saying how much I love you. So instead of saying it to each of you, let me say it to all of you. Mm-hmm. I see you. I love you. From Johin, Poetic Destiny, who, we haven't spoken with in a minute. Her original page got hacked. So I just haven't heard from her in a long time. So, but we don't throw anyone away in this culture. You know what I'm saying? So if you're Poetic Destiny, and we haven't heard from you in a long time, or if you're Johin, if you're Emily, you know what I'm saying? All these people who we've had waves of people who've been there, or if you've been there as consistently as Joe D's, you know what I'm saying? Or if you've been there consistently like Urban Counselor, who was featured in the 3rd episode of Raise It Up Why. He's been listening to the podcast since its inception. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just thank you. I love you. My entire family loves you. Yeah. I feel like I'm still leaving some of you out. Thank you to my cousin Shanice for your beautiful voice and lending and she, of course, made a huge donation. I love her. Thank you. I am TJ Wilkins. Thank you to my man for the Man of the Lounge. That's what his ticket said. The Man of the Lounge. Yours said Wendy with an I.
Mama Jerry.
Mama Jerry for the freaking amazing spread, the food that fed the entire place. She was supposed to be making me a charcuterie board. Charcuterie. Somebody said they called it a charcuterie board, and I can't not see that now.
I have a hard time pronouncing it myself.
So, it turned into enough food for the loves.
So, like over 50 people for sure.
Easily.
Yeah.
What? Easily.
Yeah.
And some people was just going back and getting others. So, I knew you. Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
So, Zeleke, my Wendy.
I'm sorry.
No. Wendy was like, hold on, because I've been over here drinking my wine. No, I need to see how we can get her.
Here. We can. It's not. I don't want to just do. Or maybe.
Can I turn it off from here? I don't know my stuff.
Has it been?
I'm gonna set it down right here.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll just speak in both of them online.
I think my hair is going to take the phone.
Oh, yeah.
You can learn a lot of things.
No.
Bye, you guys.
Baby, I love you.
I love you, too.
Thank you, Kaye, representative. You want me to scoot, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. We're keeping all this. I like when I show the real moments. And I tell you guys things like, the top of my back just cracked and she kicked the camera.
Sorry.
It's okay. You didn't mean to. It's life. Solemnly swear. Change my approach. Stop shaving coke. Stay away from hoes. Put down the toast because I be doing the most. Oh no! But every time I felt that was that, they called me right back.
Don't tell me this to do so. Sorry.
It's Jay-Z.
Oh my God.
Who is Wendy's favorite rapper. And she know.
Did I know that part?
Well, this is now the question, isn't it? Damn.
I
love you. Y'all, pay your dues.
Bring it, bang.
I got double D's, baby. They're not double D's, by the way. They're just single. But the thing is, I used to be all about that bass and no treble. Now, it's a little treble with this bass. Okay? Listen, they told me that, and I was like, it's so weird. You think with weight gain that you would be devastated until you learn where you're gaining it. And you're like, wait. Throw some D's. I can sing the throw some D's on it now. So let's get into some pay your dues. This beautiful human wasn't at Love Lounge Live LA, but it was my fault. It was my fault because in all of the rigmarole of sending out tickets and giving everyone their information, I somehow missed sending the information to a different, through a different channel. And at Nobody Jones Boutique, I'm so sorry. Because I know that you was one of the first people that was asking about it. But what I did do was wore this dress that I got from Nobody Jones back in 2017. And we'll take pictures. We'll take pictures after and then I'll show you the dress. Damn, that means I got to put on shoes, like real shoes. Because I surely got some bullshit on right here. We'll figure it out. So, we don't have to cry about it. Why? Figure that out. But, yeah. So, that was lovely in the shot. Yeah. Thanks, man. So, Nobody Jones Boutique, I love you. You the shiznit. Thank you for just being an amazing human and always supporting me. Hair by Quista. Y'all know what that is. Call it what you see it as. You knew this hair was going to be it. Of course, the only products that go in my hair are from at I Love the Do. Of course, episode 58, you can learn all about my cousin Maya, MC, Master of Ceremony. That wasn't it. Master of Curl. The Duke products. Yes, that is she. She is that. Today, for this look, I used Bonita Afro Balm to give it the shine and put some little stuff in it. This is all workout hair, y'all. I'm out here, I got these D's, but I'm not trying to have D arms. So, been working out. So, yeah, this just had to get slicked back into a little situation. But I've been using the Honey products, the Bee Girl line. Wendy, for her hair look earlier, she was using the Wash and Go line. The Wash and Go line is no longer fully in Target and other places, but if you go to THEDOUX.com, thedo.com, you can for sure find her, my cousin's hair care products there. And they're outstanding. And, sometimes people be like, oh, your cousin got your little products. Yeah, and my cousin's products are sold in Walmart, CVS's, Targets, Sally's Beauties, and everything else around the country. So it ain't just my little cousin, and fill in the blank. This is my OG cousin who started her freaking product line in Germany back in the day and has only gotten more accomplished by being true to herself. If you want to learn more about her and her brand, please check out episode 58, which features her, called What's the Difference Between Me and You. So yes, Nobody Jones Boutique. This is this dope fly ass dress I got on. And I'll make sure to put her in some pictures. I said auntie, my cousin. What time is it? Hair by Quista, HAIRBYQUISTA. Hair by Quista is who had my hair looking lovely all down my freaking shoulder. I had a dress last week that had one shoulder off and my hair was immaculate. Of course, I only get my hair done by one human. That is at Hair by Quista. We're shouting out I Am Wendy with an I because of Kaye. We all just had done Kaye.
You said that.
I said I love the do. Oh no, you didn't use this. You used Wash and Go. This is not the Wash and Go. I thought it was.
But I did use the clarifying and the that's the most def. Oh no.
Sucker Free, Mousse Def, Fresh Rinse is this one. You didn't use this.
I did use the conditioner.
Fresh Rinse.
I did.
But you said you used Pop Lock though.
Well, after I'd already cleaned it, right? So I used that shampoo and conditioner.
Oh, so you did use this box.
And then I just those two. I didn't use the Mousse Def.
Not the Mousse Def, but you didn't need to because you used.
I lied. I did use that. I used that whole box.
Damn it.
The only thing that I added was the gel.
That's the pop
I
lock.
put the pop lock on.
Yes.
And then I put some of the mousse on top. Some of that mousse.
So you really did use this whole boombox.
I did.
Okay, so scratch what I said about Wendy's hair. She actually used this whole boombox styling kit, which is right behind me. It works a lot if you're looking on as a love. If you are listening as a love, me pointing over my left shoulder, it does nothing for you. In my cousin's styling kit boombox, which you can only find on her website when supplies are available, because I think she sold out of these. So that's why I keep this one, and I think I have one more.
Can I grab that thing real quick? The pop lock?
Yeah, so they can see it. But the pop lock, like I'm saying, I don't think pop lock is available like at Target or anything anymore. I only have seen that now on the website. If you've seen it, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it, but that was the wash and go line. So this is like the OG. This right here, the Sucker Free Mousse Def Fresh Rinse, that's like the holy trinity.
This is crazy.
This one is crazy.
It like,
oh, this is your real one.
It literally had like a different kind of like texture on my hair you see how this is.
Wendy, you look like you need to be a cougar.
Shut up.
You're right. Not a cougar.
And this is yours.
A panther. Mine looks better than that.
This is yours. It was under your sink. Mine's all gone.
Okay. I was talking that's why you don't need your big sister right next to you. You see what I'm saying? How she can, yeah. She really, I did, and it kind of, I was like ratty is mine. Well, it's because it gets used. Huh? Okay. Yelling? Yes. So we now have the trick for Wendy's hair. Nobody Jones Boutique. Hair by Quista. I Love the Do. I Am Wendy with an I. Kaye. Come As You Are Yoga. Wednesday nights, Saturday mornings. Please check out at RAISEITUPWY. At Raise It Up Y on Instagram. In the stories, I put up notifications kind of letting you know what all the loves are doing and what they have coming. So every time Wendy has one of her online practices for yoga, I always post about it. So you'll always be able to see it there. And speaking of IFB Studios, that was the other person I wanted to shout out. At IFB Studios, that is exactly where we had our Love Lounge Live LA. I shouted them out last pod. I'm shouting them out again. If you have need for an event space, if you have the ideas for a TV show and you want a facility with people who can be behind the camera and people helping you out doing your thing, you need to hit these people up. If you want a photography space, they have an entire space to do photography, events, photography, videography. Make sure you're hitting at IFB Studios up. Let them know that Raise It Up Y sent you. Talk to Ryan or Richard. These are my babies. And maybe they'll treat you with a little love, whatever that might look like. The only date I care about that's coming up. Oh, and then of course, YN at Raise It Up Y, RAISEITUPWY, for everything that's pertaining to this and not pertaining to this. If you ever want to reach me, I have a website as well. It's my name, ynvon.com, right? Yep. But mostly, if you want to get at me, RAISEITUPWY. That is how you can very easily reach me. The only date that's coming up that I care about, that's not true. I just saw like 8 dates. I'll tell you 3. 1, Happy Birthday Hip Hop. August 11th, 1973. Something was amazingly born by a back to school party with DJ Kool Herc off Sedgwick Ave in South Bronx. I'm in love with what this culture, with this genre of music called rap, and everything that's been about this has happened to become. And I think that we're only getting better. It's only getting greater. We're getting wiser and finer. If I do say so myself, put some D's. Yeah, so we have that going for us. August 19th or 18th, I can't remember the date. The Emotions will have a show in Sacramento. That is something I should post on their Instagram page. Just realizing I have yet to do that. We'll make sure to get that done. And then performing again, The Emotions, looks like September 2nd in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Georgia is an entire state. I don't know what city. Maybe Atlanta. Or maybe Atlanta is the only city I know in Georgia. So it's one out of the two. But The Emotions will be in concert. Oh, I know the other one. On August 11th, one of our great friends, a good old-fashioned dance party ran by Vibes by Tahim. Also, The Real PhD on Instagram. My boy Ty Cannon is doing the LA celebration for hip hop on hip hop's actual birthday here in Los Angeles. We'll have another Beats and Legacy. We're gonna do another Beats and Legacy tribute to hip hop in September. I think the date is September 17th. I just have to confirm if that's gonna be good with my schedule because there's other things that are going on around that time. So there are other dates, but they're not pertinent right now. We'll have other episodes. I can tell you closer to what those dates are. Loves. We have recapped Raise It Up Wise, Love Lounge Live LA. Recap, no cap. This has been amazing. It is a lot in the morning. We're gonna go. Me and the D's. Oh, stay real, y'all. I forgot how to get off here. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up.